Hi everyone, welcome back to Christian Apologetics with Kay. Today we're going to be speaking on does God exist? And more importantly, we'll focus on God as the creator who was not created. This concept is really crucial to understand, so let's dive right in. So, first we need to clear something up. We're not just asking if God exists, but how we can understand God as the uncaused creator. Let's start with the cosmological argument. So, the cosmological argument is pretty straightforward. It basically states that everything that begins to exist has a cause. If you think about it, everything around us has a starting point. The floor that I'm sitting on now, the phone that I use, all these things had to come from somewhere. So if we follow that line of reasoning, if everything has a cause, we must eventually arrive at an uncaused cause, which is God. This is found in Genesis 1 and 1. It tells us in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This suggests that God existed outside of time and space and is not contingent upon anything else for his existence. So let's unpack a little bit more with the law of causality. This law states that every effect must have a cause. For instance, if we're driving on the highway and in the distance, if we see a tree fall, something caused that tree to fall. This is the same principle we apply to everything else in the universe. So if everything we see is caused by something else, then logically we can come to the conclusion that there must be a first cause. That's God. He is the necessary being that causes everything to exist. We can think about Psalms 103, verse 19, and it says that the Lord has established his throne in the heavens and his sovereignty rules over all. God is the ultimate source of everything. Now we're going to dive into crucial distinction, the difference between the created and creator. When we think about what is created, we're referring to the universe, which would include us, the stars, animals, the moon, the sun, and plants. Every single one of these things was created. But God is different. His is not a part of the created order. Think of it like an artist and their artwork. So, the artist can exist and its existence is independent of the artwork that they create. The artwork does not define the artist, rather, the artist gives life to the artwork. Similarly, God is the creator. He is independent of his creation. He created us, we did not create him. Now we're going to go on to time and eternity, the concepts of time and eternity. With that being said, everything that is created existed within the confines of time. In fact, time itself began with creation. But what about God? God exists outside of time. This is another mind-blowing distinction, and we can get a little bit more background information using scripture. Psalms 90 verse 2. It says, "From everlasting to everlasting you are God." This verse shows that while everything in the universe has a beginning and end, God is eternal. He has no beginning or end. And that brings us to the distinction between the finite and the infinite. We are finite beings. We have limits. We will live within a set period of time. We have a set destiny. And also, we can look at the universe as finite. It had a beginning. Back to Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created heavens and the earth. The universe is the earth. Scientifically, they support this with the theory of the Big Bang Theory. But God, in contrast, he's infinite. He exists without limits, transcending the constraints of space and time. This understanding really challenges our perception on existence itself. So, what we're going to do, I'll just do a little recap because we went over a lot of information. So, we have discussed the cosmological argument, the law of causality, and made crucial distinctions between created beings and creator. We've established that God exists as the uncaused creator. Now we can incorporate the moral argument into our discussion. This is super important. It tells us that if objective moral values exist, then there must be a moral lawgiver. For example, we generally agree on concepts like justice and fairness, even if people have different opinions on many topics. These moral truths suggest that there's an authority who defines what is right and wrong. This can be found in Romans 2:15. It says, "For the law is written on their hearts." This presupposes a higher moral authority, which is God. So when we think about all of this, it really points a cohesive picture. The existence of God as the creator who was not created gives us much meaning to our lives. Understanding this can help us find our purpose in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain. So, we encourage you to reflect on these ideas. Consider how the understanding of a creator who stands outside of creation impacts your worldview and your purposes. Thank you so much for tuning in to Christian Apologetics with Kay. And I hope you have a great day.